let you know so that you can, we'll put it up on YouTube also.
They're gonna put me in the movie.
Is that door open okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right.
Make a film about a man that's sad and lonely. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
I was ready at first call. All right, take it.
All right. We're recording?
We are recording.
Okay. Here I am, your co-host again, Joanna, back to rock another episode of Film Speak.
And I'm the resident dork, Bill, and I'm very excited for today's breakdown. I know the idea classic can be a loose term, but sometimes a movie is a classic for its sheer camp and mirror to pop culture of the times.
They came, they shopped, they saved the world.
Night of the Comet, people.
We will get to that after we talk films and filmmaking with Fred Boomer and Ain Wood. Be great to hear what projects they have been into and what they might have coming up.
And then talk about the film Night of the Comet. I have a feeling not many of our handful of viewers have seen this film.
That's one of the reasons why we're here, so that we can tell people not just about classics, but like Rear Window, but so they can know about the ones that flew under the radar.
It doesn't have to be good to be great.
So please watch these great clips brought in by Fred Boomer, and we will see you at the table for a talk with Fred and Ain.
I was really scared because I didn't know what he was going to be like. I'd never known anybody with Down syndrome, or I don't know anything about it. We just thought, well, that's just the path we were supposed to take and the child we were supposed to have.
So in the beginning we were scared, and then after a while we just realized that he's just another life. And he's going to be our son, and we want to know who he was.
When he was born, he was a pretty small baby, and he was very delicate. When I was younger, I would get upset a lot because I felt like my parents spent a lot more time with him. I felt like I always kind of got left out, and as a little girl, that was difficult.
Well, with Julian, he progressed slower than Carly did. Everything that Carly got fairly quickly and moved on with, Julian would kind of lag behind with it. So for Julian, it's just everything takes a little bit more work.
When babies are born, they do hearing testing, and it's called a screening, and he did not pass his screening, and he was diagnosed with what they call a mixed hearing loss.
He didn't hear as well as the rest of us do, and that delayed his speech.
As he grew and got bigger, his ear canals grew and got bigger, and we got to the point where they would do a certain type of testing called booth testing. And then after a while, they determined that his hearing, according to the booth testing, seemed to be normal.
So when he got a little bit older, he had a bit of a heart condition, and he had to get a surgery to fix a hole in his heart.
At first, we kind of wanted to see if the holes would close on their own.
We waited till Julian was about 4, and that was really about the point where he really needed heart surgery, because he was starting to get he was tired all the time, and he just kind of stopped growing. He wasn't reaching his full potential at that point.
So from that day on, he's had more energy, better coloring in his skin, so we knew it was the right thing to do.
Julian is a very active kid. He's always been a runner. I wore tennis shoes a lot of the times because he would just take off.
Well, we've tried soccer. We tried that a couple different times. Was outdoor soccer. He did okay. Wasn't his favorite thing. And then we learned about something called polar bears basketball, which it happens during the winter months, and it is with mostly kids with Down syndrome. It's getting ready to start again here soon in the next few weeks, and Julian loves it.
Julian actually doesn't go to a typical school. He is homeschooled.
Julian did go to a public school for a while, for a few years. It was okay, but I wanted a little bit more for him, so we decided to send him to a Montessori school, and it worked okay for a while for Julian, but then we had a lot of problems with safety. I said, you know what, I'm with Julian. I know what he needs to be doing, what he needs to work on, so I just decided I'm going to just homeschool him.
So after a while, we just had, for his own safety, we had to keep him at home. Julian loves electronics, and so a lot of the learning that we do for him is through electronic devices.
Julian still has a lot to learn at his age, but I think he can teach us a lot too. I think Julian has made me a more accepting person and a more grateful person, because you look at him with all the problems that he has to face every day, and he's still got a smile on his face no matter what. And I think that he makes you realize that not everyone's perfect, and they're never going to be, so you might as well deal with it and be who you are, because you're not going to be happy if you try to be someone else.
What Julian has done for me is that he's made me appreciate everything more. Julian has made me aware that everything you have is a gift. So Julian just makes me appreciate life, and he makes me appreciate it more. And I love him. He's my son. And that's all I've got.
Bye!
Welcome to Film Speak. We are here with brain fart. Ann and Boomer?
Wow, Ian.
I'm like,
Ann?
I'm not even helping you.
Ann and Boomer?
Ian.
You're just leaving me out. See, the co-host is supposed to take this for me
No,
because I
not
think
at all.
it is in my contract that says Bill sucks with
Hi,
names.
this is Fred and Ann, and we're here with.
Right.
Who are these guys?
Who are these guys?
No,
I don't
I forget the
know.
names.
The tables have
This
turned.
guy in red.
Right.
Wow. Touche.
Touche.
Do we want to
Thank you
start
guys
over?
Thank you guys for
You're welcome.
coming on. So I guess start it off, make it a little easy. What are you guys up to in film? I mean, in the area and stuff.
I'm on the education committee of Film Dayton, and I've only made one film to my name, but I've been a still photographer for most of my life. But I got involved in Film Dayton and doing some of the, I'm promoting Sundog Film Festival. That's the reason I'm here. It's a program for kids from the 8th grade age to the 12th grade. They make a little film, 10 minutes or less, and then they submit it to the committee, and they have judging, open judging, and the judging is given feedback, and then they make a selection from that. And the final, the film festival is held at Yellow Springs at the Little Art Theater, and the family and friends come and they show all the films, and then they present them with prizes and so forth.
Oh,
See, that's just a great idea.
yeah. I love that.
Not just bringing films to youth and stuff, but having kids. Because I am a big believer that film is the modern art form, because it combines so many different mediums into one thing. You got sound, you got writing, you got acting, you got the visuals of directing and everything. And to have kids participate in that, I think that's just amazing.
It's surprising some of the creativity that's out there that these kids come up with.
They haven't
And,
been stifled by adulthood yet. They still have imaginations.
oh yes,
You
yes,
know?
and it will surprise you.
Well, and that's what you watched before this segment, after me and Joanna's intro, was some Sundog
Right.
films that Fred had brought in.
The first two films are from Sundog 2012, and I was involved with helping the one boy is Josiah Duncan, and his film's called Ignorance is Bliss. But the other girl is Tessa Trozzolillo, and she has a film called I forget what the name of it is, but anyway, they were both real good films, and there was a three-way tie, and these two were the top films.
Okay.
And then the third film is from this year. There's a freshman girl that submitted this film, and it's a documentary about her brother who is Down syndrome, and she interviews her father and her mother, and she's on there too. And it's a really well done documentary. It was 5 minutes long, but it was very succinct and very very well done.
Wow. So how can students get involved in this? What goes into getting the crew, getting the actors? What are the steps that they would have to take to be able to participate in the Sundog?
Well, the way it happened, how I got in touch with, or Josiah got in touch with me, was he came to a Film Speak, or a film,
Film Connections?
Film Connections meeting, and he had this script. It was, a big thing, and it was, and I said, well, maybe I can help you out on it. But then he finally toned it down, and he wrote this little thing that was about 8 minutes long, something like that. And he lives in Pleasant Hill, and he wanted to take place in the city, and he knew I was familiar with Dayton and so forth, and so I helped him find the locations, and I did the lighting on the film, and it was a good experience. It was a hectic time, but so I encourage people to come to, the kids to come to Film Connections meeting, and also there's a website you can go to, is the SundogFilmFest.com. They have a website you can go to, and they can get ready to go next year, because
Yeah.
start building their films and get it submitted.
Oh, that's so cute.
So they just find it on the internet site, Sundog.
Yeah, you can actually find the website through
Film Dayton?
Film Dayton, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I've seen
great,
it on,
great.
Yeah, I've seen a link on their
Film
website.
Film
Yeah.
Dayton is actually Sundog is a separate entity, but Film Dayton wants to support this, and it was started by a teacher in Yellow Springs by the name of Melina Elam, and she retired a couple of years ago, and she she had all the names and all the emails of all these teachers, and the 1 year that Josiah participated, they had 150 some entries.
Oh, wow.
But that's since, because we've lost touch with all those, we're having to build it back up again, and the education committee's, hoping to build that back up.
And something else for people to consider is stay in contact with Film Dayton, because there's all kinds of things. It's trying to bring the film industry here to Dayton, Ohio. They're giving tax breaks. They're working with filmmakers.
Finding locations.
Finding
or-
locations. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, if you have a place you think that would be a good location for a movie,
Film
nice
Dayton.
house, different house, old house, restaurant, please contact Film Dayton and get a hold of them so that you can be put into the bank of
Database of location.
Yeah.
database of
Yeah.
locations. What she said.
Yeah. Literally what she said.
I like surrounding myself with people smarter than I am.
Where's Tom Cruise when you need him?
My pocket Tom Cruise.
Oh.
I should have kept him. Anyway.
Comforting to fondle
Now,
Tom Cruise while you're...
I actually met you originally when Rusty dragged me onto a short film.
Yes. That was I believe a student who's showcasing, or he's trying to take and show his work in LA to some producers. So, and yes, I met you the first time I ever met you. We were again shirtless.
Yes.
That piece is in editing right now. And
I think so.
And yeah, I'm totally brain dead on that total topic because that was not what I was going to talk about today.
Well, what did
Bill
you have-
shirtless, just totally. You're just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
It'll throw you.
That mental image will scar anybody.
It will.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad you brought up the education angle. I'm working on a web series right now, and it's based in real life stories that we've collected from people of what we're calling their war stories in education.
Oh, wow.
And the group, it's called The Tribe, and it's based on a group of kids that continually get in trouble for actually being more intelligent than the scenarios they are put in. So it's, whenever people say that they're surprised that kids are doing something amazing, it always shocks me because I'm never surprised. I always think they come up to the level you put them at. And the first shoot we did on this project, I was with Sean Baker, is who I'm writing it with. They were so brilliant. I was biting my hand to keep from peeing. These kids were so funny, and they had a natural comedic flair, and they were helping to edit these scenes and work them out. So that's something that we're actually we've shot a handful of scenes from. We're trying to get at least 8 episodes to release, but we're going to be promoting it at VidCon, which is hopefully we're trying to get at least a little promo video for web content.
And that's The Tribe?
That's called The Tribe, and it's with, I'm again writing it with Sean Baker. He's of World Stage Media. And another project that I don't know if you, I don't think you were aware of, Medicine, which was shot with Digital Awesome. Just the best name ever. Digital Awesome. All right. With Greg Nichols is right now, that was the other short that we have to clear a clip from because it's going through the circuit for when they look at films. Help me out here. Word I want. Festival circuit. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Circuit,
Yeah. Under this blonde.
Me too. It's
Yeah.
all right.
Fair enough. These fake redheads are going to stick together. And then as I am trying to promote myself as a Renaissance woman here, the third part of what I've really been working on is working on scoring and musical stuff with Matt Hayden. We have a musical group called Knock. The last piece that you worked on, that was our music in the trashy dancing
Oh, sweet, that you were
bar
that you were
scene.
dancing
that I was
to.
dancing trashily, yes, in front of a 12-year-old.
It was very David Lynch.
It was.
That's what it reminded me of
It
when I was
was.
watching you.
I really wanted to, they said werewolf film, and I thought I'd get to be a werewolf. And as much as I'm terrified of werewolves, and not werewolves in general, but just in horror movies in general, like the really bloody, gory ones, like I'll have nightmares. I love being in them, and I've even had nightmares of myself as the,
But you
horror
can't
creature.
watch it.
Yeah, but so Medicine was a horror short, and that as well. I was really hoping that he gets it to the point where we can actually shoot some
Blood.
some werewolf action.
Nice.
Some nice intestines
Yeah.
being ripped out.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I love the opportunity, and I don't think women get this opportunity enough to actually make yourself like something other than attractive.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yep,
the
I
best
get it.
actresses are the ones who are not afraid to be like dirty, ugly, gross, like scary, like
I actually just
knock out a
accepted-
couple of my
yeah.
teeth and like give me a bad wig.
I
I'm
just accepted a
perfectly
role
happy.
that requires me to be full on just grotesque.
Yes.
And I was like, yes.
Best fun ever.
Give that to me. Yes. I don't want to be the cutesy girl next door. No.
Yeah.
I want to be the creepy girl
Yes.
next door that
Agreed.
is just
Yeah, excuse us a minute, we
yay.
had a fun
No, no.
moment.
You see, I prefer, like when I write or do a film and everything, I like people to be real. I like the textures and the feeling for them, to feel real to me. And not everybody's perfect. If you have all your characters, and that kind of drives me crazy when I see a movie where everybody's perfectly molded and perfectly done and everything.
It's a little terrifying.
And
It's very
they're-
Stepford Wives.
Especially if they're supposed to be middle class.
Yeah.
Because who dresses like that walking around,
Or they're a hobo and they have immaculate fingernails.
Yes,
little strange.
perfect teeth.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of funny.
The teeth I
I've
noticed.
been casted. I guess coming up next spring, I'm supposed to play a homeless homicidal maniac.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking about when you guys were talking
What's
about.
the acting part of this role?
Zing.
I was typecasted.
I had she played two characters in the web series that Film Dayton put on
Is
called
that the
Free Club.
I saw that. We actually just pulled that up at our last
That was
production
actually
meeting.
okay.
Our
Yeah,
last
that's
no
right.
production meeting. You
Yeah.
had to leave, but Rusty and Lana and I watched it, and it was you can call me Raven. We were like,
She
oh,
plays
it was
the evil
awesome."
Raven.
That slow shot. I was like, oh, I can't wait to meet
Yeah,
her.
I got a phone call on that one. They're like, "Why aren't you at auditions?" And so I kind of had to go, and I ended up. That was my first real immersion into Film Dayton. I had worked on True Nature when that came through. I had done costumes and ended up getting cast as I called her Fat Dead, Marianne. I was her creepy when she was already dead, moving around like all disjointed. I like those roles.
Me too.
But Free Club was amazing, and I wish that it had been able to go further. And
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it still is.
Yeah.
But it was just everyone putting their money where their mouth was. The whole film community in Dayton kind of
All pitched in, just
all
free
pitched
help.
in, all
free.
collaborated,
Yeah.
and there was multiple directors.
Yeah,
everyone
we
kept
watched the credits, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I know that person. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, there's so many people involved in this. And your opening scene, you got so emotional, and you're holding. I won't say, but you have to watch it. What she's holding, and I'm just like, okay,
Is
it's
it
a little,
angel
it's
statue?
odd, yeah. She's holding a little angel statue, but you were just so emotional, and like the tear, and I was like, wow, she is so good. And it's just a little web series, and kids in high school, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
I believe they're
No
putting
idea.
together another one.
I hope they
getting
do
ready
because
to.
that was
Awesome.
that episode
They're
we watched that
auditioning
was
us.
so enjoyable. It really was. I was like, wow, this is awesome that this is what we have to offer as a web series. It
Yeah.
was awesome.
It's actually working on that project is kind of what got me to defect from theater. Sorry, to film
ours.
mostly because they feed you. Mostly because, but also because just
tables.
in that scene in particular, it was one of the most amazing moments of like, for one, I'm holding the beautiful art direction by Vanessa, whose last name I'm going to forget because I don't remember anyone's last name. And then the director is just like, he's like, just be real. That's all he said to me. It's all he needed to say.
It was
and then just you
amazing.
feel the energy of everyone like out here working on their cameras and sound, and everyone's energy is all focused at the same time, and you have that like magical feeling that just comes up from your gut, and you can
Yeah.
do the best work you can do because everybody's invested.
Yeah.
And you try to find that in theater, and you'll find multiple moments of that. But in film, you can kind of like steal all those little moments where it happens and stick them all together. It's just an amazing.
And you get that
medium.
feeling, and you take it home, like the car ride home. You're just like, that was something in me changed. I know exactly how you feel. I love
And you can
that.
save it and put it out, and someone else that didn't get to see it that day can see it
Exactly.
again. So
Yes.
I don't know. I'm kind of
Yes.
addicted to film, so I'm going to all the Film Connection meetings I can go to. And like,
Excellent, excellent.
So-
A fellow
I used
redhead
to-
in
I used to
film.
do
This
a lot
excites
of.
me.
I used to do a lot of theater when I was younger, and I'd always pictured myself as wanting to be an actor. Until it was Pulp Fiction that changed my mind. Because I was always a writer. I wrote short stories. I wrote poems, and then I also acted. And then I saw Pulp Fiction, and I realized it's like acting, writing, all that stuff. Screw it. I want to be a filmmaker.
well, you can do all, and yeah, you can have your hand in all of those pies.
I like the subtlety of film as proposed to the over the top of acting on theater and stuff. Because when you're projecting emotion and everything else to the person at the back of the theater, it's not the same as the subtlety of when a camera is right here.
I like to think of it as they're two completely different mediums. I love them both, but for stage, you're never gonna have quite the same recreation of live experience, and that pushes you to some levels that you might never. You're like, I didn't even know I could do that. So it's good to do both, I think. But in film, it's so much a thinking actor's medium that just a thought crossing your mind is enough to have a complete change in the mood when you're viewing it on it's so intimate.
Yeah.
But like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, that moment when he's sitting at the bar, he has no lines. But every emotion he has, you can
Goes
see
across
it
his
ripping
face,
across his face.
So for those of us that have never been able to disguise that, that are emotionally charged, the perfect medium.
It is.
So,
Well, we have
Best form
to
of therapy.
wrap up this segment. I guess, and touching on that, I'll leave it with the Peter O'Toole line from My Favorite Year, which is, "I'm not an actor, I'm a movie star."
Scene. Fade to black.
don't you
Next,
have
we're
to
gonna
throw your
talk
arms
ab-
up and stomp
yeah.
out now?
So
Take the mic off.
we will see you as we come back and break down the camp cult classic from the 80s, Night of the Comet. Thank you.
Are the beans from last night being a problem at work?
Huh? Oh my God, no.
Is that cucumber sandwich messing with your fun time?
Ew.
Then it's time you tried Fart Fresh. Yes,
Who would you eat this?
Fart Fresh. It can turn a faux pas into an oh yes.
Hey.
Comes in fresh pine, tropical, and cinnamon. And now for those stinky pets, try Pet Fart Fresh. You won't regret it. Fart Fresh, Fart Fresh, makes farts fresh, it's Fart Fresh. From Burn Mill.
Welcome back to Film Speak. Here today we're going to be breaking down the cult camp classic from 1985, Night of the Comet.
1984.
1984.
Just
looked
Wow.
it up today.
Yep.
God, I am
Yep.
old.
That's the year I was born. 1984.
You're
Thanks.
just a baby.
Thanks.
I am.
Yeah, I was a
Don't
freshman.
you?
I was a freshman in high school watching this while you were being pumped out of your mom.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Mom.
that's just a nice thought for me.
I enjoyed that.
I feel so much older now. Anyways, so Night of the Comet. We actually had to tie our guest up and force them at gunpoint to watch the film. It is a little no. Okay, maybe it wasn't that bad.
I liked it. I liked it.
I love this movie.
It was cheesy.
It's a-
I like cheesy zombie and girls trying on clothes and being all cutesy. I like that stuff.
It's just
And then fighting zombies.
and then fighting zombies. Yeah, yeah. Valley girls with machine guns. What is wrong with that?
Exactly.
Well, before we get started, since it's fairly fresh, I guess, in your guys' minds,
I watched it in the ending in my car on the way here.
what did you think of Night of the Comet as you were running over that pedestrian?
Well, their eyes were all hollowed out and they were wearing sunglasses, so it's okay. They might have been a zombie.
Yeah.
There were some things that I thought were really funny, cheesy, that maybe I shouldn't have been amused by. But I really thought it was hilarious that it was just like piles of clothes and like dust.
Red dust.
I mean, that's
Me
one
too.
way to solve the problem of, okay, everybody's dead. How do we show that?
But
Yeah, so that was pretty funny. There was a lot of like hyper saturation, and it reminded me of like Liquid Sky, which I was
Yeah.
semi-obsessed with for a little while because just bad 80s clothes. There's nothing quite like it, and I couldn't help myself. So I'll watch anything that has like terrifying costumes. I'm not gonna lie. And again, you can't help but like, what scenario works better than a bunch of teenagers who suddenly have infinite freedom, and why do they always end up at the mall? So, I mean, that's even referenced in the film, but it was combining an awful lot of things, mad scientists and zombies and, you know.
government conspiracies.
Yeah, and then the guy randomly with a cowboy hat just because they could. And it's just, it combined a lot of things, but it was fun. It was campy.
I found it funny because you mentioned, you know, when everybody dies and they turn into red dust with the piles of clothes.
Right.
Okay. When they show the scene the night
Not that
before,
a good vacuuming
when
won't
they
cure.
showed the scene the night before, there's like 1,000 people out there.
Right. And
Okay.
there's
And the next
10
morning,
articles of
10
clothing.
or 15 articles of
Yeah.
clothing with some red dust.
Well, and there was only one car out.
Oh, I know. That's all they could
It was a little
afford.
strange,
They spent all their money on the Lamborghini that they used for 5
Yeah.
seconds at the end, you know, so they couldn't
Did
afford any
anyone
more
else thought
cars.
It was weird that the zombie talks, like that the zombie like
Yes.
talked to her.
Yeah, the one in the,
The very first one.
yeah.
The dude that
Growled.
ate her boyfriend, like.
Well, yeah, it seems like if
No,
you,
he
if-
actually spoke.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, he did.
he did speak.
Like,
and
come
well, you
here or
had
something.
you had the zombie guy at the radio station with the sunglasses, who was all zombified, and they were zombies with machine guns. But
Right. Well, I think that it was supposed to be that they were gradually becoming, so that makes more
Progressive,
sense.
yeah.
But I was being unfair on this.
I will
zombie
buy. I guess I'll buy that.
topic.
So, what did you think of the film?
Well, you know, for one thing, I'm not into the horror genre, the zombie thing. I'm more Richard Linklater, Before Sunset, before you
Yeah.
know, I like the relationships movies and reality, but this was, you know, I was impressed with the photography in the thing. Was this this is pre CGI, wasn't it? 18
CGI was still a new thing. The first CGI movie was Wrath of God.
Nerd
They
alert!
had the
Nerd
red
alert!
sky in there. I don't know how they did all of that stuff, whether they did it mechanically or whatever.
Yeah. It's probably the old-fashioned way where they used to actually cut the film
Yeah.
and then put
knows?
a layer over the top of it.
Wow.
Yeah, they had some really like seriously vibrant coloring.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, the director, I'd read that he tried to go for an actual comic book look and feel to the movie. That's
And
why
they achieved that, yeah.
everybody you notice has their own colors.
Yeah.
To identify with their character and personality. So it's like a superhero team with bad guys have their own colors, good guys have their
And
own
I
colors.
didn't pick that up. I didn't pick that up.
I like the character of the sister. I thought she was
Yeah.
Yeah.
She carried that comedy thing through.
The blonde one.
The little
that you-
blonde.
Yeah.
The little blonde one? Yeah, I was 14, I had a
Yes.
crush on her. I'll admit it.
She was 15. She was older than you. Is that a thing?
Older women, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Just checking.
Older women, younger women, heartbeat. I think that's what I look for.
Is she warm? Okay.
Okay, she got a pulse.
Got a pulse.
The roofies didn't kill her. I can keep going. We have. I found this funny because they actually say the original title, the working title of the movie,
Okay.
was originally Teenage Mutant Horror Zombies.
Oh my God.
That was the original name of the movie. And when Sam, the blonde girl, is at the radio station, she does a call out. She says, "This is for all the teenage mutant horror zombies that
right.
are out there," which is kind of a cool way to fit in the original
Okay.
title. Of the
I wonder
movie.
why they changed it then. Maybe just
They were trying to ride on the back of the teenage.
Actually, this would have 1984. That would have been. That would have been the
What's the
same
full-
year that
Is it-
Eastman, the comic, which was black and
okay.
white and it's still underground on an indie level. Label would have came out, but yeah, that's what I thought when I first read that, but the times didn't match up. I remember when that Eastman comic first came out, I was blown away because it was an adult comic and it was violent and gory and they cussed and they drank. And then 3 years later, it gets bought up by corporations and they turned it into some kid thing.
That it happens with any sort of
Like-
mythological anything.
We're
Yeah, I
gonna
guess
tone
that's
it
kind of a
down.
point. Yeah, we're gonna
Make
turn
more
it down.
money.
Look at your fairy tales, and then Disney gets a hold of them. And,
Oh,
well, I
yeah.
shouldn't say that, should I?
She's got big, pretty blue eyes.
And they're no longer being pecked out by birds, right?
Sing. Yeah.
It's like, there's not a whole lot I found out about this movie. The things I found out the most about it was people who reporting context mistakes.
Oh,
Oh, it's one of those films where it's like,
Lots
that's
of
wrong.
those, yeah.
That's wrong.
Lots of
I'm sorry,
lots
what?
of context mistakes, like
Continuity and stuff like
continuity
that.
and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Like the bad guy with the Michael Jackson jacket on, who with the sunglasses and he's
Oh, yeah.
half zombie and he's got the machine gun. He's all like, he takes his gloves off twice.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Would you do it again?
Yeah. Just one more time.
No, not quite.
Okay.
You missed it once. You just have to
was in
wait.
the moment.
You have to wait
It
for
was in the
playback.
moment.
Then you can rewind it, fast forward it, do it in slow motion.
All right.
Make a gif out of it. All right, back to the movie.
And something else I found funny. I'd always, I never paid attention to what album she throws
Oh,
in the radio station. It is Valley Girl, which is kind of funny because a lot of people have quested for that Valley Girl album. That's like one of the most sought after albums of all time.
really?
Yeah, because because it's rare. They limited released it. They didn't make that many prints of it, and so it's a rare album. And I know a couple of people, Mark, Caroline, who have literally gone through like major quests just to be able to get that one album.
Wow.
Yeah, and
From
then,
the movie,
then you
just
think about it.
because
Here
of
she
the
is.
movie,
She's just
yeah.
like
Throw it away.
the context of things. I don't know. I guess there's not too much to talk about. It had a big
No.
impact on me as a kid.
I just like that it had zombies because
It had-
that's, I mean, I like the zombie culture. So that's cool. But
Well, back when it came out, I first got turned on to the zombie culture because being a young teen, I just discovered Dawn of the Dead. I actually saw them out of order. I saw Dawn of the Dead before Night of the Living Dead. That's like sacrilegious, I think.
Yeah,
all
a little
right.
bit.
But you know, it was the '80s.
I actually expected there was going to be more sci-fi elements in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why I expected that, but
well, I think because Night of
just-
the
well,
Comet,
yes.
the comet,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes,
what's,
and so
oh my gosh, what's going
it
to,
seemed like
Especially the opening where they
Yeah.
show the sky and you think,
and
oh.
everyone's like, oh, this is so, let's party, let's have a huge
You know, they
huge
might have
party."
had more of a sci-fi plan for it, but limited budget kept them back because that was
Yeah.
it was a pretty low budget movie. I think they did great camera work for what they had to work with. I thought they did a great job.
The you had given me the DVD when I came here, and I had never seen the film before, and I was kind of skipping through, so I didn't really get to see the full ending. How does it wrap?
Well, they
everybody lives. It's a
Yeah.
happy ending.
Oh.
She
And
drives away in the sunset with DMK, the initials from the game that.
Yeah, the guy who in the beginning who was beating her high score and on
Oh, yeah.
on Tetris, she ends up meeting him.
The little sister.
And then on
Yeah.
his license plate, it's,
Yeah.
Yes.
drives
I was
away.
reading a review of it, and it talked about
They live
that.
happily ever after.
Yeah, they get
It's a
get
Disney
scooped
movie.
up.
I
They
like the
get
depressed scientist the best.
yeah.
Yeah, she was my favorite part. For one, there was just something about her. She was like just something about the way she just presented herself. She was like you wanted to watch her, but then just yeah.
I actually liked the scientist group because I found them fairly believable because of how I think a government research facility would probably
Right.
react in a situation like that.
In a group of kind of how do you put this personalities that are able to kind of separate themselves from their work in order to do their work.
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense that they were kind of.
Plus, one of the bad guy scientists, he's always in David Lynch movies.
Oh
I
really?
cannot remember his name. He was in Twin Peaks, the TV show. He was the brother of the lady who owned the logging company. He was And
yeah.
he had a bit part in Wild at Heart too.
I can picture his face, but
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
Yeah,
can't.
he looked completely different in that because he was all
It's one of those.
military
It's like
like.
I've seen him in a lot of stuff. I have no idea what his name
Huh?
is.
We'll have to review Twin Peaks.
We'll have to review Twin Peaks. We'll just do the movie Fire Walk with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we've already done Blue Velvet.
Okay.
That was like
That movie forever scarred me.
that was episode 1. Yeah, she'd never watched it. I had to. Yeah.
The ear.
Guys.
Anything that moves. Mommy.
Oh, that
Mommy.
part. I
I know how to get to her.
was like, Kyle MacLachlan naked. I was like, okay, that won me over.
that would be over.
I'll keep watching for that.
Dennis Hopper kind of scarred her though.
Yeah.
He has that ability.
The candy colored clown scene.
Wrong movie. We're talking about
I
this
know.
other
I know. Well, it's the thing about breaking down movies.
He kind of like.
Remind
It takes
you
us
of,
all
uh,
over
You
the
go through
place.
Yeah.
all the stages of Kevin Bacon while you're sitting
But
there.
I guess what we should probably leave it at is if you haven't seen Night of the Comet and you are a fan of 80s movies, cult camp, zombies,
Just
or
cheese balls.
yeah, Valley Girls.
Yeah.
It definitely had a cult vibe. So.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cult classic.
Yeah.
It's not a classic.
It's a cult classic, which I mean that's
Classic,
cool.
classic.
If you're
Classic,
if you're in a
classic.
film that becomes a cult classic, that's pretty cool.
Dude, that's its
How
own-
many
that's
cult
its
classics
own,
become
yeah.
like memorable 20 years later?
Yeah.
Was it Boondock Saints like 20 years? Isn't it a 20-year anniversary?
Coming up.
I saw something they're celebrating it in Boston at Boston Comic Con. I'm a nerd. I follow Comic Con, whatever. But they're making a
I think
huge
it'd be
deal.
15.
Is it
I
15 or
think it-
20? It's
it's
something
15.
like that.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's like
15.
that movie was just
It hasn't been up.
How did
little
it do at the
underground,
box
like-
office?
Crap.
Did it?
It did. Boondock Saints tanked. Mainly
Did the
because
drive-in thing and
well, the guy who directed it, whose name currently eludes me, did not want to play the Hollywood game. And so because of that, they
No
wouldn't properly distribute it. Terry Gilliam faces the same problem.
Yeah,
I mean, his
sure.
movies
He's
blow
my
up all
favorite.
over the world,
Oh,
but
I
because he won't
favorite.
play. You love Terry Gilliam?
Oh God.
Oh
yeah.
my God,
Almost all my
I
favorite
love you.
movies
That's
are
all my
his.
favorite movies too.
Yeah,
I have his whole collection, even Tideland.
I've seen that actually.
It's
sometime.
disturbing.
I'm sure.
It's very disturbing. But yeah, he can't get distribution in America because he doesn't want to play American ball.
Well, he
you know?
doesn't need to. He's Terry Gilliam.
He's Terry frickin'
Yeah.
Gilliam.
Yeah.
I like that. So it's a cult classic.
It's a cult
That's
classic.
cool.
Go see it.
Yeah, I mean, if you got nothing to do like me tonight,
End of July,
watch it.
right? Monty Python with Terry Gilliam is doing their last live show ever. Now it's in London.
That's
It's
all
going
right.
to run for
I
30
got a
days.
passport.
The last 2 days, they're going to
Nice.
broadcast it live to theaters all over America.
oh wow.
So we'll be able to go to the Rave Movie Theater, wherever the heck, and go see Monty Python's last stage
Let's
show.
just go to London. You guys aren't doing anything. You're just gonna go home and get drunk after this.
If you could pay for my
Have you
trip,
been spying on us again?
if you're going to pay for my trip to London,
I have been spying on you,
I will
but it
buy
has
the
nothing to do with
I will
this.
buy the
Make sure you walk
cornettos.
around naked.
We'll plan better.
We'll
plan
pool
better.
and get a freighter.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, if a miracle happens, somebody picks
Get
up
one of
picks
those,
up one of my projects before
dirigibles.
July, it's on.
We're going to London.
We're going to London.
All right.
So please watch Night of the Living Comet if you're not anal and it's your thing.
Night of the Living Comet.
Night of the Living Comet. Night of the Comet. Otherwise, that's the end of the show.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Welcome.
Enjoy
Oh,
the
thank
insanity.
You, thank you. My hand's cold and sweaty, so it's okay. Okay.
And fade.
That movie's so hard. Is it like nothing? It was like, okay, it was all right. That was a hard one to break down, actually, for me.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that was a great episode. I love when I get to come on and be a part of it all.
liar, liar, pants on fire.
Maybe. But it was still a great episode. Thank you to Fred and Aid for coming on.
And
Maybe, but it was still a great episode. Thank you to Fred and Aid for coming on. I hope it wasn't too painful of an experience and that you'll come back again and let us know what you're doing.
I'm telling you, because we suck at names. Please join us next week when we will teach you the proper method to dispose of a corpse without leaving a trace.
Do you really know how to do that?
Just maybe. Please check us out on Facebook. We would love to hear from you, any of the 8 or 9 of you. Just please hit us up with any ideas or suggestions.
Or to call us out when we don't know what we're talking about. Go ahead. I can take it. That is talkfilmstome/facebook.com.
We want to hear from you. Watching Night of the Comet really took me back. There were really a lot of films that had a big impact on me as a teen in the 80s.
You mean like the John Hughes flicks?
Yeah, sure, but more like Big Trouble in Little China, Big Buckaroo Banzai, Terminator, Lady Hawk.
I got it. Blade Runner, Princess Bride, Aliens, Predator, Clue?
You do have it. All those movies and more helped shape my love of film.
Me too.
What do you mean? You were in diapers for most of your time in the 80s.
Yes, but I had great parents that made sure I watched all the right stuff, especially horror. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Here is to movie-loving parents. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Fade to black.
Aw. You ever watch Seinfeld?
Oh, I love Seinfeld.
The episode where he tells Constanza, he's like, once you tell that one good joke, you get to laugh. You got to leave the room.
I'm out.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. I'm out.
Because I tell you, I've never vocally said that, but every time we do one of these episodes, I keep thinking about doing that, where I'll just like say, yeah, just one really good line, and I'll take my mic off down to the.
I'm out, and then I'll be like,
What do I do now?
we're gonna go to commercial.
That's a wrap.
Oh, it's just horrible.